guys, hello, welcome to my new series. This is called A Little Catch Up With. I'm Connor Wells, you may or may not know. This series is basically just a frank and casual chat about mental health and with creatives and musicians. We've had a pretty bad ride the last few months with everything that's going on in the world. I don't need to mention it, we all know. So it's good to talk about mental health and know that whatever you're going through, you're not going through it alone, and someone is probably feeling pretty much the same way. As you can see, I'm joined by the legend, Kieran Leigh.
Thank you, mate. Legend, I like that. Thank you. Yeah, man. Not in an arrogant way, but yeah.
It's good to get those compliments, isn't it?
Yeah, legend meaning I feel old, definitely.
Nah, not at all. So, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Tired, as I spoke to you off camera.
We had a good chat off camera, didn't we?
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know if it's a mixture of...
It's weird times, isn't it?
Do you know what though? I don't know if it's a mixture. As I said to you, we obviously talk every now and then and that, but I think it's probably like a mixture of like when people say, "Oh, I'm tired," and you look at them and you think, "What do you even do?"
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then they're probably physically like drained because of their mental psyche's like draining them, or they're emotionally drained, and it can take a toll on your body. And it's insane. Like even when like people say to me, like Harriet says it to me, or my mum says it to me, or like friends say it to me, they're like, you do realise you're probably getting like the anxiety belly, or like really bad, like your body's going like, no, because your anxiety is super bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my anxiety is like, it fluctuates. Yeah. Because obviously I have incredibly crippling anxiety sometimes. Like there's like, even if you flash back, like to start this whole thing off, if you flash back to like 2 years ago to when my documentary came out to now.
Yeah, we'll touch on that.
You know, like
big moment.
The change is insane. Like obviously we'll get into it all, but like what we're going through right now is like, you know, coronavirus or this, you know, COVID or COVID-19, however you say it. I keep saying COVID.
Some people say COVID, some people say COVID.
See, COVID sounds like a covert mission, and I'm like,
that makes it sound sick.
I'm like, do I want to say it like that? So
I just call it Rona.
See, now my dad, I remember going back to see my mum and dad like a couple of months ago. All my dad was playing was it I Sharona? Is it I Sharona? I Sharona. But he was just singing my Corona for like an hour straight, and I'm like,
fuck. So
I beg you, shut up! Like, please stop! Like, but have you noticed as well that anyone in a suit, me and Harry do this thing. Like, we go like shopping. She wants to go somewhere. Like, I want to go shopping here. I'm like, okay, whatever, we'll go.
Yeah. And
she doesn't clock it, but I do. And I can't remember where we were the other day. We were out, and I remember I kept doing this, like from the distance, and I'm like.
That's the thing, like we're terrified to cough in public now. I saw a post the other day, it was like, I used to cough to cover a fart, now I fart to cover a cough.
Dude, I wouldn't even, that's probably hit me.
It's the fucking
true
thing though.
I wouldn't even be mad if someone did that. I'd be like, but then again, I'd be super suspicious. I'd be like, so you wanted to cough, so you farted instead, like... And if they're super knowing that they've got Rona, they'll follow through, and I'll be like, right, you covered that up so badly.
You
like
committed
I know
to the role.
You went in.
You played your part.
You embarrassed yourself for it. Like kudos.
One for the team. Then,
exactly. Right? We've gone from mental health to talking about people shitting themselves in public.
To be fair, mental health, like it affects everything, doesn't it? Like,
hold on, I know it, mate. I've got the bladder of a child.
Yeah.
Harriet, I'm looking at you when I say that because you know that I've got the bladder of a child.
It affects all parts of your body. Like, although, like, someone, like, for me, I've got autism. So if people have, like, watched this channel or know me, like, 5 years ago, it must be like 5
I will never, ever forget the single moment you said to me or you mentioned it. I can't remember if you did it publicly.
I think I spoke to you first before I actually said to
you did it to me.
I got my diagnosis.
So I think this was all, correct me if I'm wrong. Documentary comes out, loads of people hit me up, like we're talking like A-list to like people that I know to like whatever, and then you then hit me up and you're like, by the way, I've got autism, and I was like,
yeah.
I'm sitting there, I was like that, and I was like reading your message, and I was like,
You what?
I had to just take a minute. I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I remember I was like, it's insane that someone like yourself that can be in front of a camera, can edit, can, as I said to you, can play music, do photos, you know, you all of these things, you do all of these insanely cool things, and yet people wouldn't realise it. But the minute you tell someone that, they're like, shut up.
That's the thing that because my diagnosis led to, like, it stemmed from my job. So I used to work with nursery children, and I used to work one-to-one with the autistic children. And I was like seeing their traits, seeing their behaviours. Like,
you were picking up on
that in myself.
Yeah.
The lack of eye contact. So eye contact is fucking terrifying for me. Like, literally, I feel naked when giving eye contact. That's why. Like we were talking earlier about the lights. That's why I'll often wear sunglasses at like festivals or gigs and stuff. Yeah. Just because.
Dude, I don't even blame you on that, and that's not even like an arrogance thing. Like, that's why. Like it was weird because I remember a few years ago, I said to my mum, because we've got really, really pale blue, like crystal blue eyes.
It's a cool colour.
Thank you. But buy me a drink. But, water though. But yeah, no, literally, like when I was growing up, like, you know, when obviously you're out and stuff, like people used to come up to me and they're like, even like, obviously you expect it from like girls on a night out as a young dude, but like guys, we're talking like roadmen and like everyone under the sun, like males would be like, yo man, your eyes are crazy. Like they're beautiful. And I'm looking at them like, what the
back the fuck up.
But like the thing is like I didn't realise how sensitive my eyes were to light. So like
mine are.
I always have to have sunglasses with me, like always, and it's not even like a
See, mine's like that as well. So like if I was in a shop or a restaurant, that's cool, man. It's calm.
God damn it.
Technology. So if I was like in a restaurant or a shopping centre or something and the lights were flickering, that would literally like give me a headache. And I think that's literally like part of the sensory overload. With autism, some people say it's like same with ADHD. Some people may think of it as like a hindrance, but for me, I don't think I'd be doing any of this music, editing, photography.
They say that if you're, because I always thought, I mean, I know everyone knows me, I'm always hyper, but sometimes I'm not. But I've got ADHD, which is like the obsessive compulsive side. So if I really like something, like, dude, I really, really, can I curse?
Yeah.
I really fucking like it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, as a kid, I used to love skateboarding. 10 years later now, I've just bought a new board to go skating so I can get out and just have my own space, the same as like with drums. Yeah. Dude, done it for 16 years, absolutely love it. It's an obsessive trait. The thing is, I always thought, where the hell did I get this from? Like, where did my ADHD come from? Dude, I look at my mum and my uncle and I'm like, there. But autism,
that's the weird thing.
You focus on things you really love.
Oh, yeah.
And you just stick your head
really
straight
vision.
in it.
So if I got a new camera, I want to know every single thing about that camera. I want to know how to use it blindfolded. If I wanted to change it from 4K to 1080, I want to be able to do it without even looking at it.
But then that doesn't even stem to me as like autistic trait. That stems to me as
passion.
A passion to perfect.
Unless you know the traits. If anyone just met me, they probably wouldn't think I'm autistic, just because most of the things are up here or slightly physical. Like my leg jiggles. Like
the only thing I notice with you is like sometimes you get the shakes and sometimes you don't. I twitch sometimes when like I either get this like I didn't even realise I did this right. If I'm super pissed, like pissed off at someone, or I'm real angry, my eye just goes like that. Like I get this weird little psycho like bang like that, and I'm like,
stimulation, isn't it?
Whoa, yeah. But like even like twitches and stuff, man. It's but I get like the knee goes.
Yep, that's
my knee goes.
My knee goes.
So I don't know if I'm not on the autistic spectrum of it, but then again, that's
the thing. There's no typical autism. There's no autistic person that's the same. There's no person that has.
I don't think any human being is the same, and I think if you start labelling, not even that, like even with mental health, like the whole ideology of this, this episode and every other episode is obviously to do with mental health, but like if you start labelling yourself. Like obviously you can have a laugh. Like, I can have a laugh at myself about what I've got going on or whatever.
That's
or
like the thing. Like when people post like autistic memes, or you see something on Family Guy that like mentions like, oh, when the autism kicks in. To be fair, for somebody else that might piss them off, but for me, I try and think of like the positives for it.
Yeah, for sure.
At least it's being spoke about. Like because it's relatable. So if like someone says, "Oh, how to have a conversation with an autistic person," and they're like, like that, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." But it's right in.
I know what you're trying to say.
Getting it out there. It's
I get you.
Raising awareness sort of thing for it, isn't it?
Because you can sit on 2-2, but like the thing is, I was sitting, dude, I was sitting at the table the other day. That I can't remember. Like it was me and Harriet's mum, and that like I have this thing like my ADHD because obviously like you like concentration.
Yeah.
I can't concentrate for like longer than obviously if I'm doing this I'm cool, but like you'll notice when you go back to like watching this back, like you'll notice I can talk about one thing, but I've spoken about 5 different things in the space of one story, and you're like,
I'm
what
the same
fuck?
like that.
But
I'll find a way to relate what I want to talk about to the conversation, if you know what I mean.
Harriet's mum noticed this thing that she was like, can you do this for me? I'm like, yeah, cool. Dude, 10 minutes later, she's like, you didn't do it, did you? I'm like, oh no, sorry, Jan, I forgot. And then she looked at me and she was like, she did the goldfish, like, she was like, yeah, I'll go and do this. Like a fish bowl, like the mind of a fish bowl, like swimming back. And I never thought about it like that. And I was like, holy shit. But I said the other day, I've got a memory of an elephant, but the mind like a goldfish.
That's
like I can remember so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like little intricate things in my life. Like we're talking like nano small. When it comes to someone like Harriet's like, babe, can you like go and put the bin out? Can you go in the fridge or can you do? I'm like, yeah, cool. 2 hours later, do you know what I mean? I'm still sitting there like, man,
I forgot to do it,
man. And then she'll come and be like, did you do it? I'm like,
that's the thing. Like
I have to go and do it.
I will remember if it's something that I'm interested in, I will go 110% for it. Like I will remember every fucking single detail. But if it's something like, take for example, school maths, because I didn't get a diagnosis during school.
No, neither did I.
So I went the entirety of primary school. I could have got a diagnosis, but before my dad went to shops and didn't come back, he didn't want a he didn't want a label. But to be fair, I know, positives for everything. Positives for everything.
See, that's the other thing. Like you've just done it. Like you can take you can take a real bad situation and like make a negative or a positive out of a negative. Like just then. But for me, I'm sitting there like, but then it's like the boundaries of like, how do you make like an uncomfortable situation but like still make the person that, or like the joke you're telling to comfortable? That's my kind of humor. Like I love dark humor, but like people get way too butthurt nowadays. Like this is the thing, is like when you start taking the piss out of something that you have yourself, someone will then turn around to you and be like, well, that's the same kind of thing as racism. And you're like, oh, for fuck. Like you can't actually have a
person. Like if someone was said, oh, you're autistic as fuck, or like show me an autistic meme, I'd think it's funny. You know, someone else who may be on the spectrum, may be not as high functioning autism as me, may find, that's a bit too far. But it all depends.
I think it all depends on how you perceive yourself in the situation. But then at the same time, like me having ADHD, like, dude, Harriet's twin sister has got ADHD, right? So we in a room together, when we're ever in a room together, is like no holds bar. Like back the fuck away from that room because it gets nuts. Like it's like a million and one things going off. But then she's very different to me. I'm very different to her. But then you can have clashes with people because if you've got autism and someone else has it, they might be on a different wavelength to you, to them. And then all of a sudden, you might be at war with that person in your mind and you don't even realise what they're thinking about you. Then you're like, I've done it with paranoia, man. Like, I think I got diagnosed with, I think it was like at the time of when everything really did kick off. Because obviously, as you said, we'll get into everything properly, but like, if we start it off with like, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 15 or 16. Like I was a super late bloomer, man. Like
I think I was getting 20 when I got my diagnosis.
Dude, it's so late. But like my mum always said to me, I'm glad, like we obviously found out about it. But in my head, I'm like, do you know what? Like I'm so glad I got diagnosed later than earlier. I was super
glad when I got diagnosed because I may have that label now, but to be honest, I don't think of it as a label. I think of it as like a huge weight off my shoulders. It gave me
I'm the same.
Fucking huge understanding of why I am the way I am. Like why?
Because then you can at least like, like me, like as I said to you off camera, like I'll just say it even now for the record, like there can be times if I'm out, I will feel insanely guilty like 20 minutes later when a situation has arose that I then freak out. Like I have these mini meltdowns and Harriet's like, calm down, I'm with you. But she can say it in a tone of normal, but I think she's super pissed off and I'm like, holy fuck. Do you know what I mean? 20 minutes later, I'm thinking, oh my God, she's still annoyed. Like this morning, I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, she's still annoyed. Do you know what I mean? But then actually, when I look back on it, it's like, one of my therapists said to me, is it a Kieran problem or is it a problem for the world to know about? Yeah. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
That's a good way to put it, really.
Yeah, and she was like, if there's a problem that you can solve on your own, that's a Kieran problem. You haven't really got to worry about anything, you haven't got to share it.
Yeah.
She's like, if it's a problem for the world that you kind of, you know, emotionally, that you're inept where you need to just like get it out, like you are really freaking out. People are there to help you. Don't think they're against you. I didn't realise that I was diagnosed with paranoia as well, but I always forget that one off the list. And that's like a massive thing for me, is like I've bloomed over 2 years of everything that's been happening. Yeah. And I think my paranoia still eats me with my anxiety. They're like best friends. Yeah. It's like misery loves company, but anxiety and paranoia are here. Like, how are we going to really fucking twist him up today? And then my ADHD's like, just chilling. Those two get involved with ADHD and like all three of them at the same time happen. And then the next day, dude, I can be depressed for like 4 days on end because of one tiny situation. And it's the worst thing in the world because I then feel like shit. I then think people think me that they feel like shit because I feel like shit. And it's just this whole psyche, like, I feel bad sometimes on like even like the littlest things. And the thing is, like, everyone knows how close me and Harry are and how close me and my mum are.
You guys are goals.
Yeah, man. Like she gets
you, and it's
dude, 100%.
And it gets you because Vic, she's got OCD as well. She's fucking understanding. Yeah. Like, I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Vic.
Nah, dude, I'm the same with Harry. But like the thing is, me and Harry always spoke about it as well, and. Like, even, like, not in a dread way, like, she always would say to me, like, you know, when you say, like, oh, like, you mean the whole world to me, or, like, you're, like, my life, like, Harry always says to me, like, I've helped you so much, like, in specific ways, but you've flown the rest of it on your own. Like, you motivate yourself to do this and that in such a good way. I was never here before this happened or whatever, and in such a positive way, she comes out with these insanely cool things that I'm like, I didn't think about it in that way. Yeah, you know,
it takes someone else who understands to put it into that sort of perspective.
Yeah, oh mate, like it's the way we met was the most magical thing in the world. Like it was just like, I mean, I don't know when you want to start, when it's like the whole topic of like the documentary up till now and like the 2 year gap of what I've been riding through, but like. We'll just shoot the shit and we'll just start it.
I'm going with the flow with this.
We'll just start it. So like 2 years ago, I released a documentary, flies around the world. I wake up one day and I'm like, why the hell is my phone like?
I remember seeing that on my newsfeed so much because I gave it a good old share. I remember watching it. I watched the entirety of it about 4 or 5 times, and it was so good to see someone talking about mental health, especially someone that I know, someone
that we've
local.
Been in the studio, we've recorded with good friends, like. The one thing for me, when I did that documentary, man, was like 2 years ago, I was in one place. 2 years flash forward to now, I'm in a completely different headspace, man. You know, like I've got the woman of my dreams. Yeah. I've got a great career. Like I work for a great company. You know, I've just started recording my album. Like I've got all of these things lined up. Yeah. Dude, if you said that to me 2 years ago when I like this documentary thing happened, I'd be like, fuck off, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like what?
Focusing on the negatives of it.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like so when the documentary released, I was literally in that room recording it in the morning, as I said to you off camera. I do this documentary with Josh Allen. Shout out Josh Allen. He was like...
Amazing work.
He hits me up and he's like, dude, I want to direct this documentary. And I never had the idea. Yeah. This was the problem. I never had the idea of doing one. I'm not that kind of dude like, I'm going to do a fucking documentary about it, because I never really wanted to. All I cared about was getting my story across, getting the weight off my shoulders, and just being left the fuck alone. Like that was my whole thing, because I was sick and tired of people like, oh, what's up? Like, what's going on? You need to see a therapist. You need to go to counselling. You need to do this. I think you need some help. I can't really help you, but I think this person can help you. And I was like, do you know what? If I just get this out to the world, they're gonna know what's going on.
Exactly.
Josh shot this documentary in the space of 3 to 4 hours. We shoot this documentary for 3 to 4 hours, and I can't remember what exactly was said because I was probably intoxicated at the time of it being filmed because I didn't like leaving my house without.
It's an uncomfortable thing.
I did. You know, I didn't like even this. Like now I'm sober. I'm like, woohoo! Like I'll just do it. I mean, I'm cool. Like, I'm happy. I'll do it. But like back then, like I always had to be. You know, I always had to be. There always had to be like something either besides me in my pocket or in me to kind of do. You know, to have a motive to kind of do anything. So we shoot this documentary anyway. About a week later, he's like, "Yo, this company up whether you want to re-edit it, they want to drop it." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, man." I think I was on a night out. Like I remember I was just sitting. I was so drunk, smoking a cigarette. I rang and I'm like, "Yeah, just do whatever you want, man. Don't care." Phone's gone down. 2 days later, I've not spoken to anyone for 2 days. I've gone on like this 2-day adventure. I wake up in the morning, 99 notifications on like every app.
I remember like, seeing it on my timeline and just seeing every time like I refreshed, the views were just going up.
And I'm like, what the fuck has happened? In my head, I'm thinking the worst, right? You always do. And I'm like, please God.
Because when it's something
please God,
so
it's not me singing like
that.
Living on a Prayer in my shower and it's gone viral or something. I'm like, I'd never sing that, but I probably would because I like that tune. But anyway, I wouldn't sing it. Yeah, I'd never sing in the shower. But anyway, like I was thinking, holy crap. Dude. It has gone to the point of like I've had people from Japan, Germany, Belgium, LA, fucking Russia, to Ukraine, to Africa, to China, like worldwide, right? So I'm like, I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to handle this?
Yeah.
I've then become the world's therapist from one video that's lasted 5 to 10 minutes. I'm like, shit. But then at the same time, everyone
watching your live streams after it.
Yeah, like this company made me do live streams. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do these live streams. I was in this room obviously at the time when it was recording.
People were asking you questions and everything.
They're like, oh, how do I do this? And my son, and I'm thinking, dude, like
I'm just sharing my experience. Like I'm just sharing my story.
I'm not a fucking therapist. I'm not, I'm not this. I'm just a, like an agony aunt. I became the world's agony aunt.
Yeah.
So what I then started to do was, I then noticed this. I had close people around me at the time that was in my circle that was like, they just switched. They were like, why the fuck didn't you tell me anything? Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck? Why would you do this?
And why back would that? Then it was hardly spoke about, was it?
Dude,
mental health wasn't in a place where it was now. It's not in the place where it should be now. How open it should be spoken about.
It started to go. I think locally, that documentary, I kicked something off so local that like everyone was like, "Holy shit, this kid's done it right." Okay, I'm going to jump on and start talking about my. And that was the greatest feeling in the world when
your documentary, I think, made me sort of not go public because that sounds like so fucking celebrity.
No. But it is true. Like it's a public domain. Like say what the fuck you like. Yeah. That's why I got to a point where I was getting so mad because I was like, say what the fuck you want. I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, definitely.
And I got to this level of like, I would go out. Right. This was the greatest thing, but yet the worst thing I did because. The documentary helped so many people, so many people around the world. Helped me actually discover who the fuck I really was. So
talking about it seriously, like even if it's in your head and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm this way because of that, I'll do this because of this. But when you actually say it out loud, it also gives you like that sort of second perspective and helps like a different understanding of things, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, mate, 100%. So I remember going out, people would be like, oh, I want a photo of you. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, dude, I'm a fucking... But then I realised, actually, if they're going through something, they kind of want to meet the man behind the mask kind of thing. So I was like, okay, cool, like whatever. Then it started to get to a level where I would go out for like my mum and me would go for lunch every other week. Yeah. And people would come over to my mum and be like, oh, you're Kieran Leigh's mum. And then my mum was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, so I then kind of hid away, went to the studio loads, would record. And that's when... I think that's around the same time Habits started doing loads of like really cool gigs and cool stuff, and then the Bad Monday stuff was happening. And
big up to Bad Monday.
Yeah, man. Mark and Paul and all the team over there. But like that was the one thing. Like the documentary boosted not only mental health in the local scene, but like you can see one person you know or some person you recognise do it locally. Like fuck it, I'm now going to talk about it, man. Yeah. And so many people started doing it after that and following the trend. And I was so happy because I was like, do you know what? There's so many musicians, like even friends of mine that have taken their own lives in the past 2 or 3 years, like before the doc came out. And I wish, like, I always used to kick myself because I was like, imagine if I did it like a year before. But then I wouldn't have had the knowledge of what I was going through the year before to save someone's life. But like, so from the documentary, I had like all of these things happen. I had a company in LA, like you need to fly to LA, like we want to do a testimonial with you. Like Corey Taylor from Slipknot's done one, Bert McCracken from The Users done one, and I was like, yeah, cool. So I'm still at this time, dude. At this time, I had no money. Like everyone assumed I was like breaded. Like everyone was like, because I'm doing music, I'm selling out shows, I've got this, I've got bad money. Dude, I had no money.
The expenses of doing this job and lifestyle.
No money. I was getting free drinks and free bottles of vodka wherever I went. But that's how I managed to carry on feeding an addiction with like my mental health and getting out of reality, because people would just give him like just for free clothes and free this and free that. And I was like, yeah, cool, man. And I started to lose my marbles a little bit. So flash forward to 2019, a year later, I then go through I went through a lot from 18 to 19, just with friendships and just specific parts of aspects of my life. And I then met Harriet in April 2019. And mate,
you're a new man, I think.
So we met in 2019, we met in Bethnal Green. We met at Marcel from Love Island's EP release on the red carpet. We literally met on the red carpet. Like, I was getting like photos done. I looked to my right, I've just seen Harriet, and she was like laughing with someone. I'm like, I remember, I think I was like probably either drunk or I was a bit high still, because I was still trying to get off like what I was on. I was like, wow. Sunglasses to come up, like, who the fuck's that? Like, so she didn't really, she didn't know really anyone, and I obviously only knew Alex and Faisal that was there. And then literally we connected the whole night, spoke the whole night, and then dude, from that moment I was like, but I never thought I'd see her again. And then like the Sunday, the Monday rolls around, she's like, do you want to hang out? I'm like yeah,
why not?
From that moment, I was like, okay, I want to just get off everything I'm on. She whips me into shape. She, obviously you do it for yourself, but you also do it for the ones you love, and she really helped me with it. I went through withdrawals for like the 3 to 4 weeks. It was the worst,
but she was there
3 or 4 weeks of my life, man. Yeah, and she rode the whole way through it to a point, just like, what the fuck? Like, I do not know anyone that would stand by it.
Because most people, like, while you're, so to say, changing, most people would fucking be like, this is too much for me.
They just up and leave.
It's not what I signed up for, and they'd up and leave. Which is why, like, you and I are both grateful for
the women we keep.
Yeah,
dude, I am. Like, but not even that, just Harriet's family as well. Like her mum and her sister, the same as my mum and my family and my best friends, like Andy and Richard and Ellie and everyone else that helped me through this whole journey, man. Because actually, you can do it for yourself, but without a great support network behind you, like a great woman, even her mum's a great woman, and her sister and her auntie, and like my mum and my dad and my brother and my sister, and like all of my family, and even Andy, like my best friend in like 20 odd years, Richard. There's been and Ellie and like other people, as I said, like there's been loads of moments in my life where actually I've treated those people like shit, man. And I went through, after I got sober, after I realised how bad I was being 2 years, I just completely was like, I'm really sorry for all those times, man. Like
I was going through shit. It's no,
like, and you can kind of you either carry on going down a path, with do you let your mental health take over you? And Harriet said it, right? Last night we get in from London, and I turned to Harry and I'm like, babe, she's like, what? And I'm like, what do I talk about in this interview tomorrow? Like this, this episode, this filming.
Yeah.
She's like, just be you. And I'm like, I'm always going to be me, But she was like, you're a new person now. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to say with this. Is like, you have to do things for your mental health in order to go to the next point of your life.
Yeah.
Like you, for say, with cameras and editing and this, as I said to you, I've got hustle tattooed straight across my stomach, but I've never met anyone that hustles harder than you. Like
cheers,
music, cameras, filming, ideas, podcasts, like you and Roxy doing the podcast, and getting all these insanely cool people on, like that magician dude the other day. I was just like, where the hell do you get these people from? Like, I'm like, what? Like, the same as, Harriet. She wakes up, she goes to work, she busts her ass, then she goes to another job, she does it. The same as like every other person that I know of that I don't even know of that work really hard throughout this whole ordeal of what's going on with coronavirus.
Yeah.
Harriet doesn't moan. You don't moan. No. Yet sometimes I can whinge and I think, why the fuck am I whinging?
Yeah.
But then,
I always think like some people's got it worse off. Luckily, mate. Like touch wood, my family's not been affected yet. My family ain't been affected by any of this like shit that's going on in the world.
Yeah, well, weirdly enough, I lost my great aunt in end of January, and yet that was pneumonia. She came back from Dubai in I think like December with a cough, and she lost her life, man. But other than that, you know. It's like one of these things. I found that hard to grieve because I couldn't grieve because I knew this was happening. Yeah. So for me, it was like it's hard to comprehend. It doesn't feel real. Yeah. You know, like it doesn't feel real. You know, so it's a bit like what. You know, even you know, you try and get your head around certain things, and I've just come to the fact of it's taken me a long fucking while to do it, man. But I've come to the point in my life where what will be, and your health is always first, and your mental health is always first. And there's some days where, back in the day, my bones would feel like concrete. I wouldn't want to get out of bed. And if I was to go to a motive, I had to have something in my system or know that there was something there that I could use to take the pain away or to take this away or to take that away or to take this away. Now I literally wake up, have breakfast, drink a fuckload of water and get on with my day. Yeah. That's it. Don't eat specific things anymore, don't do this anymore. I get out more, I exercise a hell of a lot, like skating or to the gym or playing drums or recording or this and that.
You sort of learn to know what's good for you and what's not good. Because I know that if I drank, if I smoke, I wouldn't do it. But if I ever did drugs, I know that my passions I've got an addiction for. It's an addictive personality. Like along with autism, touched
you get the light bulb in a lot of like the ding moment. Like you've literally just said it.
That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't do anything else, because I know that because I'm so passionate and so addicted to music, taking pictures, thinking up new projects to do. Like the podcast is coming to an end for series 1, so I want something new to do, which is this thing for me.
Amazing, honestly, to be the first person on the first. I said that the first person on the first episode. Like, who better?
Why not? Exactly.
No, I'm kidding. I'm playing, but no, like honestly, you've said it so well, because I think there's a lot of people that will watch this, and obviously our friends and family included, and the thing is, friends and family know you. I think obviously partners know you better than anyone else or whatever, but. And parents know you in a different way to your partners, or your best friends. But like people that follow you and like look up to you or look up to me or whatever, is like they will see a different side of people.
Light, this is something that I've always been passionate about. Just haven't sort of made it as public as I would.
And I think you damn should, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think the few podcasts you've been doing the past few weeks and all this filming and photos, even like, dude, Harriet watched the was it the engagement video? I think you did.
Oh, mate.
Dude, she sat there and was like, it's so good. I was like,
her dad cried. And he's like proper hard Cockney voice. He cried. He was in tears, mate.
Honestly, man, it's just even... Oh, also, I'm touching you in the knee. All you coronavirus vets out there. That was the knee. That wasn't
we're sanitised.
Yeah, we're all good. But honestly... I want to say publicly now, what you did for Harriet's birthday last year was like the greatest thing ever.
And privilege, mate.
If you haven't seen the video, I think the video is on...
It's on Facebook.
I think it's on Facebook, and it's on... It might be on my... I think it's on my Instagram. Yeah. Walking into Miller and Carter, full Miller and Carter, and just busting that song out. I think you changed the tune like 2 days in, because I was like, no, it's this song now. You were like, oh, okay.
I was learning a different one, and then you went, Rex Orange County.
I was like, fuck, how have you done this? But yeah, man, even she says it the other day, like... She's like, oh... I still like, it was still so good. And I'm like, I don't know how you just, I couldn't do that. But then again, I'm a drummer. Yeah. It's like, oh, can you come and like serenade my other half on her birthday because she really loves this song? I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, it's just like, what the fuck?
See, that's where the autism thing for me has its advantages, because they say with autism, the one sort of stereotypical thing is you're either fucking great at maths, like literally will know fucking fractions and everything. Decimals.
Pi. Like, by the way, who uses pi on a day-to-day basis? Like you're in Sainsbury's and you're like, right, I've got this much money. Let's just whack a fucking pie chart. Yeah, exactly. And so the orange bit is the taste the difference. This bit's my money, and the blue bit's how much. No one uses pi.
I've never used it.
But sorry to interrupt.
No, it's calm. So like they either say you're fucking great at maths, mate. It takes me 2 years into my 2-year long phone contract to remember my number. Like, I have a picture of my fucking
I know what you mean.
reg number on my car in case there's like a reg thing.
Yeah, but it
takes time.
Yeah, it does take time, man, and that's not even a bad thing because I still do it. Like when I got the new car, I was like, "What the fuck's the reg
number?" Yeah, but then I probably wouldn't be doing music and any of this because if I didn't have autism, that's where
I think
that's
my
your passion and strive comes from.
Man.
Which is why I think. Yeah, definitely.
I think, you don't make it like, I don't let my, like, I call it the big five, man, like depression, anxiety, paranoia, ADHD and OCD, like,
that's the thing.
I don't let any of them.
Thing, it sort of coexists with another thing. So autism, I have like anxiety with things, like if take going into Miller and Carr, I was perfectly comfortable to go and sing a song to complete strangers.
The fuck you did it, man. I was like, even I was sitting there. I went red for me because I was like, oh my God, dude, I'm pissing so many people off having dinner right now. And you were like, doing your thing. And Harry's like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And I'm sitting there like, everyone's going to fucking hate me. Dude, you walk out and I'm like, see you later, man, like whatever. And then these group of women are like, oh my God, you're getting married. I went, no, it's just my chick's birthday. And they're like, what? Like that? And I'm like, I wish I had a man that did that. And I'm just like, look, like, I'm just too extra, man. Yeah. That's the problem. Like, me and Harry go that length, like, to make... She loves birthdays, and I've been so... Look, I'm a boring dude, man. I'm a really boring guy. And that's the thing is, like, I'm content with, like, just chilling. But she's like, no, we'll get out and do stuff. Yeah. And I think that's a massive boost for my mental health as well. Because before, I'd just be like...
Yeah,
watching TV all day on a Sunday, like I don't want to do nothing.
Yeah,
and let's go for breakfast. Let's go and do this. Let's go. Obviously,
Vic encourages that.
Yeah,
but if I didn't like, for me, walking into a room full of complete strangers with my guitar to sing a song, perfectly calm, perfectly fine. If you ask me to like fucking have a conversation with each and every one of them about something, that's when I get the shakes. That's when I be shit. So that's when my anxiety kicks in. So like with autism, you get like you know. I've had my experiences with depression. Like I fell out of love with all of this. Fell out of love with music. Did not want to gig.
Yeah, I've been there, man.
Retroactive jealousy disorder. I think I've got some like traits of that, and that's only like a recent sort of discovery.
I have no idea what that is, but that sounds 80s as fuck. Just because you said retroactive. Yeah, not in a bad way. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's that? Like,
and then like depression and autism and anxiety and all those other things, they sort of go hand in hand. So I think with as well with like ADHD, because that's on the autism spectrum as well, a lot of those things come in.
But like that's the thing, man, is I think anyone can talk about those things. Like the next couple of episodes, obviously everyone's going to be a different human being that comes in, but like I think, dude, if I didn't have the drums, I always say it to people on the radio when I do radio interviews, like, oh, what do you do about drums? Like, people would fire questions at me. I'm used to having questions thrown at me. And they were like, what do you do about drums? I'm like, be up to no good.
Yeah.
Probably be in jail or probably do something that I absolutely hate.
That's why it's a really hard question to answer. Like, if you're doing like an interview or someone's like asking you something like, what would you do if music wasn't your job? I'd be like, that's a deep question.
Do you know what happens to me? Like, when they're like, oh, what would you do about music? In my head is like the monkey of like, ding, ding, ding. I'm like, what the fuck have they just said? Because I don't know what that means. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? My life, like, someone said it, dude, I was in the recording studio. So I was recording Friday night. There's me, there's Jimmy, obviously from Habits.
Yeah.
Like, and then, and Scott Cohen, like Jimmy's mate, and he was like, you look really good in that producing chair, man. Like, I reckon you could produce more. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm obviously doing with this album.
New Dre.
That's a big statement.
Could be.
I don't know, man, because I've got the ear for it all. But like the thing is like, I love producing music. Don't get me wrong. I love creating music. But at the same time, I'm a drummer. Like, I'm a drummer first. And he said to me, he was like, honestly, man, he was like, I don't know how you play drums like that. Yeah. And I'm like,
practice.
I just kind of just picked two sticks up, beat the shit out of a Yellow Pages pad when I was like 9 or 10. And from then, just fell in love with playing the drums. But even like,
starts from somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like even playing with like Atlas and like Philly and Dots and stuff, man, like to 3,000 people at the Rhythms of the World and up and down the country playing shows. And obviously I was on tour last year. Yeah. And like all of these things, I was playing shows in London when I was like 14 in a punk band with like people that were like 20, they were like 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
That was Chaos Baby. So that was like Laura, me,
But that's hustle as well.
And, you know, like, I was doing all that with, like, no tattoos, braces in my mouth. They were like, keep your mouth shut, don't say anything, get in the venue, we'll get in and play. Because obviously I'm 14 and the curfew's like 8 or whatever. So go and do all these shows. And as I've grown up, like, I don't know where my mental health has started. I don't know whether it's like, so many scientists now are like, mental health's about the atmosphere you grow up in, or like
it's
how
like the nature versus nurture kind of thing. With
how
what
it is.
I've got, there's no cause for it. You get all those like people and idiots who say, oh, it's like injections and stuff, like the anti-vaxxers or something. It's not that.
Dude, I don't know. Look, all I know is I'm definitely the black sheep because I'm covered.
No one in my family have got anything like that.
I reckon my mum's scatty as hell, but like in the greatest way. Do you know what I mean? I love her to bits, but like my uncle is so ADHD, man. He's nuts. Like my mum's brother, but like at the same time, it's like, you know, my sister, you know, she struggles with it sometimes, and like, you know, even my brother's like a scientist, man. He's like the most quietest and chilled dude, and it's like actually he might go through some stuff but never voice it. But it's because my face is on a lot of stuff socially. Is like I am comfortable with talking about things. There's obviously stuff that you keep private, but like I will never understand how, why, and who you know, I truly am to a certain degree. I'm getting better with it, like 100% getting better with it, as I said before, like from the documentary up until now, or like even just 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I've grown, I'm different, you know, I'm adulting.
Yeah.
Is a big fucking word to use, but adulting is the right word to use. But like, with regards to anyone else's mental health, is like, just fucking talk to someone, man. Like, and even if it isn't that easy, do something that makes you feel good. That's the one thing I've noticed.
It's the little distractions for me.
Yeah, like, you know, if I'm having a bad day and I say to her, I'm having a bad day, and she says, go and do something you love. Like, when the lockdown thing happened, I ended up getting furloughed, like, from obviously the company I'm at. And I'm like,
what do I do now?
There's only so many hours in the day you can sit and, you know, play Call of Duty or play like Grand Theft Auto. So it's like, right, what do I do? Go to the studio.
There's only so many hours you can play drums and stuff. Like.
Yeah, and there's only so many hours you can sit behind a desk and mix and master and edit and do videos. I was doing videos, like 10 videos a time, because I had so much time on my hands.
Yeah.
That's when I got back into skateboarding like the other day, and I was just like, if we have another lockdown, I'm going to go skate.
Yeah.
One, I don't really like running. My parents are both runners, but I was like, I love going to the gym. I don't like running. Skateboarding's the next best thing. Let me go skate, because I can get my cardio, I can go and live free. And I think that's my whole thing, man, is you healthy soul, healthy mind, and just try and push to be the best human being you can possibly be. Man, I still get down days. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I still get days where I don't want to, you know, I just want to sit in a room. I do want to have a cry, or sit in a room, and I just do want to...
It's healthy to cry.
Yeah, and I just want to have a moment of independence, man. Or I can get a bit angrier sometimes than I usually could, or I get a bit more stressed, or I get a bit snappy. But the thing is, I don't mean it in a bad way. I think it's because
it's just your way of coping, isn't it?
I bottle so much stuff because it's like, it's not a them problem, it's a me problem. I'm going to hold on to this bit until that, you know, they've gone, or they've gone into a different room, or they've gone here, and I'll just vent it when I need to.
Yeah.
You know, even like driving places with music on, that's fucking so zen for me, man.
Yeah. So that leads me on to like, this series, I want it to be like a thing where people can talk about their mental health, not get judgment, but if they are struggling, learn how people who have experience with mental health cope with it. So for me, like, I'll probably say each episode, like for me, having that bit of alone time, meditation, like, people might think it's cringy.
Do you do that?
Yeah, man. That Calm app, like, not sponsored or anything. The Calm app, best.
Definitely sponsor him, because
phone.
there's so many sponsors he's about to get off of it.
Honestly, the Calm app, I've got so many like Lightroom editing apps. It's fine. It's part of the job. But Calm, best thing.
Rain music.
Yeah, rain music,
dude,
thunder sounds.
Me and Harry,
they're the best.
She's going to watch this back and she will just smile, because she will know exactly. Yeah. Dude, when we first got together, right, for some reason I had this weird obsession when everything was going on, like with me and how bad my mental health really used to be when we first got together, rain music.
Oh, it's calm,
I used to just fall asleep to rain music, and she was like, huh. And we then got in this weird cycle for like weeks on end.
Vic and I like that before we go to bed. I don't use my iPad much for work anymore, but I've got the Calm app on it. Bit of rain music or ocean waves. It's perfect.
Dude, a bit like TV, like just... You just
Yeah.
Like rain hitting, and then she'd like turn it off during the evening when I finally fell asleep, because I used to literally be like this.
Yeah.
Like bang, like burning, eyes burning the ceiling, like, because I was like wide awake.
Yeah.
I now get to a point where I fall asleep watching a fucking Netflix series, and she's looking over at me and she's like, just turn the TV off. We're just going to go to bed because you can't stay awake.
I'm like that.
And I'm like, what the fuck's the time, man? 10:30 on like a Friday night. Dude, if you asked me a year ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, like, yeah, you'd be asleep at 10:30 on a Friday night. But I'm going to party all weekend.
I'll be out, mate.
I'm just like...
See, I'm like that just because, like, for me, it's so fucking hard to switch off from things. I'm always
your brain is ticking.
Yeah. So if I'm watching, like, I don't know, fuck it, Game of Thrones. If I'm watching Game of Thrones, yeah, I'm paying attention to the story and what's going on, but I'm also fucking paying attention to, oh, this is shot great, or I would have done this, or paying attention to camera angles. That mentally drains me.
Yeah, because you do I'm, like, falling the camera
asleep halfway through it. Yeah.
You're doing the camera stuff. So for me, like, what are you watching now on Netflix?
What am I watching? Oh, what was I? Oh, I'm rewatching Stranger Things at the moment. Rewatching Stranger Things.
Is that because you want to look at the camera angles, what lenses they've used, or how they've shot it? That's my question.
See, it's
is
a
like,
bit of both,
do you rewatch things?
I fucking love a good like conspiracy thing and like sci-fi stuff. So I'm rewatching that because one, it's got those sort of retro vibes to it. Two, it's based on some sort of true story like myth thing.
Yeah.
And three, just because it's shot well. It's shot well because I appreciate that. Like Vic will like say, "Oh, let's watch something on Netflix," or "Oh, I had someone talk to me about putting something on Netflix."
Shout out
like,
Netflix for the next
shout
sponsor.
Out Netflix. Big up Netflix.
Shout out Netflix for the next sponsor.
I know, right? And like most people like stick something on Netflix and be like, "Oh yeah, this is shot really well," and I'll be like, "Yeah, I know why, because like Netflix have
bang, you just reel it off, and they're like, "Oh fuck
yeah, for fuck's sake." And I'm like,
I get you.
But Netflix only allows certain types of cameras, and it has to be filmed like this, it has to be filmed with that, and I'm like, and they're like, "Shut the F up."
You've given me knowledge because I didn't realise it could be shot a certain way, but like the reason I asked that is like because I think even with mental health, this is the whole premise of this series is like, dude, I used to listen to a lot of dark fucking music, man.
Same.
I'm talking like,
I think at one point when I was like proper low, I think it was in my teens, I think my favourite song was Bullet by Hollywood Undead, and when you listen to the lyrics, it's about a guy jumping off a building in a suit to look nice. Dude,
for me, like in that same response, for me was like, dude, I love Lil Peep, and I love and I love all the, I'm a massive emo at heart, man. I love like all the emo hip hop and like the emo trap.
Yeah.
But Lil Peep is still someone that's so like I can listen to it now. And before, like I'd get triggered. When I listened to it, I'd get really triggered by it.
Definitely.
Like super fucking triggered. But now like I could play the albums back to back in the car and I can smile because I can look at where I came from. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, cool. But like even like music now, like I usually try to listen to as much diverse stuff. Like my mum and the uncle are massive Northern Soul heads, so like I will listen to a bit of Northern Soul now and then, or rock music like Machine Gun Kelly's new album's really good.
Great album.
Yeah, dude, like it's such a good album. Or like obviously Ocean Wisdom.
Yeah.
And obviously there's so much music I listen to, man. Like so much.
Machine Gun Kelly's new album, it's sort of like a good metaphor. Like he took probably the biggest L from Eminem, but it's also spawned probably his best work.
Mate, like when I look
and that's the same with mental health. Like you've had the fucking low moments, but then if you get through it, if you've got that support, it spawns your album probably going to be the best work you've put out.
That hit me right in the fucking. That hit me right in the fucking feels, man. I'm glad someone is. Yeah. No, but seriously, like the way, like even to get talking and like with the album and stuff, like I for 3 years kept putting this fucking album off. Yeah. I was like, it's not the right time. It's not the right time.
I'm not there yet.
Every month, not the right time. Not the right time. Haven't got the right skills. Can't do it. I'm shit at doing this. And I was like, right, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fucking publicly, PSA, public service announcement, could fucking.
You got the maddest response to that.
I thought it'd get like, I don't know.
When you post about your music on Facebook, no one gives a shit. But if you share a meme fucking shares, likes, and comments are everything.
Saying that, dude, I'm quite lucky in that retrospect, man. Like, I've always been really blessed with it, and I've always been really lucky. So thank you to everyone that obviously does it. Man. You're doing great. But yeah, like, you pay my bills, man. Nah, but no, like, seriously, like, it's just great that people still give a shit. Like, I kept saying to Harry, like, the other week, I was like, I might just give music up. And she's like, why would you do that? Yeah. And I'm like, I just feel like I've done so much in the past 10 to let alone 15 years that I feel like it has been. So every time I drop a video, that's me kind of clutching for dear life, like, please remember me, I'm still somebody. Do you know what I mean? But like, the thing is, that album response was insane. Like, huge. I had people messaging me left, right, and centre, like, dude, let me do this, I'll do that. And I was like, what the fuck? Because I think people have finally clocked on that I'm not a one-trick pony. I won't just play grime or hip-hop or rock. I'll just shoot my shot at every single thing. But now's probably a good time to say I'm going to do a deluxe as well as a normal. I'm going to do 12 tracks for the normal, 15 for the deluxe. But
awesome, man.
I'm doing physical copies. My idea and plan is to do physical copies of the album for the first month.
Yeah. So expensive to produce.
Do you know what? I'm pretty lucky with it. Like, there's like favour for favour kind of things going on, like with loads of people. So like, even people have said to me, they're like, oh man, you're going to be spending so much money. I'm like,
so you know.
Nah, man, I can sell shit to a toilet. I don't think you know me that well. Do you know what I mean? Because there's like features and stuff that I'm getting.
Yeah.
That people are just like, how the fuck have you got them? Like, and I'm like, way back in the day, you wouldn't believe it, but like, it's just like some of those things.
Like, be kind to people. And
yeah, I mean, it's even like with us, man. Like, I think if you, can you come do this? I'm like, yeah, cool. And then, I'm like, can you come do this? You're like, yeah, cool. Like, it's the same as like other people, man. Like, even with Max, the engineers here, he's like, dude, can you come do this? I'm like, yeah, fine. And I'm like, but I remember saying to loads of others, I was like, when the time comes and I ask you to do it,
I'll repay.
You have to do it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what this whole album's for. But like, we've got like hip hop, grime, and everything else. And even that in my head, I was like, the anxiety barely happened, man. Because I was like, how the fuck am I going to pull this off? And Harriet said to me, take a good year to do it.
Yeah,
she was like, don't fucking rush this album. I was like, no, I'm not going to. Then even she said to me, why didn't you just start it in April when you had all the time in the world to do it? Because it wasn't the right time to do it.
It's the right time. Like, starting this, I was a little bit... I've always wanted to do like a series talking about mental health, sharing my experience, having to like getting the chance to listen to other people's, and hopefully other people getting value from it and thinking, that's me, I could do this, I can do that. But I was always fucking apprehensive about it. But then when I just thought, I'm just going to do the post, now feels like a right time. The podcast series is coming to an end. I want something new to do. I'm just going to post it. If I get a response, I do. If I don't, then it's fine.
Or everything.
But I was overwhelmed by the response of it. I had people messaging, like, wanted to be on it. They wanted to like help set it up. Put it out there.
Because I think when it comes now, coming from a very strong experience, man, and a lot of people don't realise this. After I did obviously the documentary, I then went to schools. To talk to kids. Yeah. I then went to universities. I went to like my old school.
You'll have to do your own TED Talk.
That's literally what it was like doing, like a small TED Talk, but to like schools. So long story short, I keep saying long story short, but it technically is. It's like fucking, I'm so long-winded, man. Like I'm like a chatterbox. But like, there's a dude called Steve Ward, who's like a really good friend of mine. His other half used to like work in schools and stuff.
Yeah.
I think, like, obviously still does, and I can't remember the link of it, but she was like, come and do some talks in schools. So I was like, okay, cool. Right. So, so basically, I went to schools to do these talks. Me and Harry go to Milton Keynes at the start of this year before we flew to Amsterdam for Valentine's Day.
Great place. Amazing place.
I've got the maddest fucking story about Amsterdam. Like, there's so much shit that happened there. Like, obviously, we went into, like, coffee shops. Yeah. Nothing happened. Dude, I don't smoke. I didn't drink when I was out there. Like, I had a kidney infection.
Nice.
I had a kidney infection 5 days before we fly out. Like, I was on these antibiotics that nearly killed me because what I'm allergic to, the doctor gave me.
Yeah.
And it had lactose in. Dude, I'm lactose intolerant. So, like, you can understand my pain. Dude, I made the damn most of it. Like, I don't care. Like, if I'm going... Before, I haven't flown at that point. Even when I went on tour, I never took planes.
Yeah.
It was always the Eurostar, boat or like anything else, whatever it's
you want to make the most of that experience, don't you?
Never planes. So like Harry gets me on a 50-minute flight. We're walking down to like the plane, and I'm like, oh man, I need to piss, man. I can't do this. I've gone in the toilet. She's probably thinking, for fuck's sake, here we go again. Child minded again, like whatever. I'm going for a wee. I've come out, and then there's this queue, and I'm like, I've got to pee again. I didn't. I think it was just because I had like either a water, whatever was going on. Like I was like, fuck, I weren't comfortable.
Yeah.
The security guard at Luton Airport used to do my security back in the day when I used to do shows. He was like, yo man, come here, fast track. I'm like, what? Like, okay, it's like fucking 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm sunglasses on. Harry's like, what was going on? I grabbed her. I'm like, pulled her. I was like, let's go.
We're going on.
All these people are like, you motherfucker. Like watching us walk past.
Death
I didn't
stares.
Yeah. But in that moment, I was cool. Like I was calm. But it's weird how my anxiety triggers to like, like alarm bell was ringing, and it's like really chill, and then within a second it's like a war zone again, because that's what the plane journey was like. The belt clipped on. Was like, Harry's like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to take this belt off for like the next 10-15 minutes when we go up, and I'm thinking, shit, if I have to piss, like what the hell am I gonna do? So like I go for a wee. Everyone on the plane, when I opened that toilet door, looked at me so mad because they couldn't take off because I was in the toilet. I was the one, right? And I'm like, I don't care. I've sat down.
Well, you gotta go. You gotta go.
We go to Amsterdam, right? We're there. I nearly get hit by about 4 or 5 people on a bicycle, and we literally had like the greatest time. You know, even though it was raining or whatever, like it was cool, dude. We wake up like the next day. She's so unwell. Fuck. This is when Corona starts going into Europe, and I'm like,
what
the fuck? And I literally felt so bad because we was obviously out there, but it was like one thing triggered after another. Like I went well and she went well, and we both went well together, and it was like this whole beautiful romance of sickness and not well, and like
brought you closer together.
But like the point I'm making is like we go to Milton Keynes literally before. See what I mean? I've done it again. ADHD. I've done it again. I made a story out of a story, but like
we go on tangents.
Before Amsterdam, we've gone to Milton Keynes to do like holiday shopping. Yeah. Harry is a really bad. You do, and you know you do because you're gonna watch this back. She has this shopping. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I can admit it, but she loves shopping. She fucking loves shopping, man. And I always
joke with Vic if she's going into Primark, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go cinema, watch a film. I'll be done by the time you're finished.
Do you know what though? Kudos to Haz because she can just get in, do it sometimes, but she likes to have a look around, man. Yeah. I'm like, cool, like whatever, spend your money, I don't care.
Yeah.
We're going to Milton Keynes. The kid that I did a talk, he was in this massive assembly hall. I did a talk and I spotted him out from like a mile. It was a huge distance from like where he was sitting. I walk into Foot Asylum to grab a pair of, I don't know, I think I wanted like Jordans or whatever I was looking for.
Yeah.
The kid is like, do you need any help? You're right there today, mate. It was the same kid in the thing, and I was like, I've looked at him like he's like, what? Oh shit, bro, like that, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, yo, what's happening, man? And he was like, yeah, man, I'm cool. Like, I got myself a job now. I'm like, yeah, like I can see. He was like, no, I'm still doing he's still doing like construction or everything, but he's still working like weekends at like the sneaker shop or whatever. I'm like, what? Like, but he was like, yeah, man, after you left that school, I went home, I started producing loads of music. Now me and my friends have got like a rap group.
That's fucking amazing and that you made that sort of impact.
What the fuck? But the thing is, I wish I had someone that came into my old school to do that. Like, I really, really wish I did. But the funny thing is like, I went to music college, so I went to Hitchin College, music college, and I got expelled for my ADHD.
Yeah. Because
I was so practically like to a skill that no one could fuck with me on, like with the drums. Like you couldn't take that away from me. Theory wise, I was cool with it, but like I didn't like the fact that the
practical side,
the tutors were bullying like the students like with certain things. And I used to have a really foul temper back in the day as well. I'll never forget. I called my mum up. I was like, "Mum, like, I've got to talk to you." Told her, and she was like, "Okay," because she knew that place was not good for my head because it caused the worst, most horrific moments for me. Like, there was moments where I was being bullied by like the tutors and everyone else, and like for this and that, and just I was like, what the fuck is this place? Like, this is awful. And I obviously then after college went on and started Atlas, and like with Flo and Spitz and Joey, and then obviously Dots and Philly got together and made Philly and Dots, and then obviously we all were on one label, together, signed to one label, and then I honestly can wholeheartedly say from that moment, that's where my career really did start.
Oh, definitely.
It wasn't in like the slums of East London or South London when I was playing drums in rock bars and dive bars and punk bars. They were cool moments though. Like, don't get me wrong, as a 14-year-old doing that was so cool. But like the Philly and Dots and the Phoenix recordings and the label stuff.
I remember seeing it because Maskey, I don't know if he remembers this. If he watches this back, I don't know. But I think Maskey gave me either my first or one of my first ever gigs. Bulldog Town Hall and Atlas and Philly and Dots were on headlines.
What the fuck? Oh my God, yes.
It was probably one of my first actual proper gigs. And I remember
because there was so many. The acoustics was like, because obviously it's the town hall, right? It was like massive. So it's like I remember the whole place was packed, like front to back, wall to wall, and I was like,
I remember it was me on first, back when they were White Line Diaries, Indy and Vega, and then Atlas and Philly and Dots.
Yeah, because I will never forget. Indy came up to me and was like, "Yo, you're that dude," and I'm like, "What the fuck? Who is it?" Because I didn't know who anyone was. No. I kind of, obviously me and you from that moment, you were like, "Oh, you were cool, man." I'm like, "No, you were cool," but that was the thing, because we're so close to the same age.
Yeah,
people have then put me on this pedestal as like
the guy,
local, like the guy. Like, oh, need a drummer? Call this dude.
Yeah.
Oh, 800, whatever. Like, so I was like.
I
just kind of get and to play drums, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
I did not realise how pivotal those shows were for me. And back then, I was just so content with my life, man. Like, honestly, I didn't have any of like the problems that I had now. I was just really, going with the flow.
Yeah.
I was just going with the flow of things. And, I can't point and I can't pinpoint where things just went and just snowballed.
Yeah.
Because I think with mental health and, your psyche in your brain, you don't know when it's going to happen.
Exactly.
Man. You, like,
anything
to anyone watching this now that's, you're going through shit or you're going through a hard time or you want to be... People have messaged me a lot, man, like in the past or now, and they're like, "Oh, Ran, I really want to do what you do. I really want to do this, and I want to, I want to play drums, I want to play guitar, and how do you get paid from this?"
Yeah.
But man, this is me being so gut raw. I had a fucking dream, man, of just playing drums and getting paid. Right, that's all I cared about. I just wanted to go on tour, play drums, never work a normal job before in my life. Right. Soundtech, when they took me on, the greatest company I've ever worked for. And even if I was like touring and I was all over the world doing this, I would still work for them.
Oh, definitely.
Because one, they've looked after me, and two, I love the whole company. And like, I actually like having a 9-to-5 in music, like in the music industry, in the audio spectre. And I can then still go and write my album, or I can still go home and chill with Harriet, and we can, have romantic date nights and do this, and I can still be a musician. It's like Batman and Bruce Wayne kind of thing. But you have to work so damn hard. Like,
oh, definitely.
Like, this. Like, you have to work hard to get to where you want to get to. But once you've got to a point, you have to work twice as hard to maintain it.
To not slip back to where you want
to
work.
When people always say to me, like, how do you do this? Obviously, it's apparent I'm covered in tattoos. I would watch how people would pay deposits to tattooists, how they'd get paid by the hour, or they'd pay by, like, fees. And Siren, who's one of my tattooists, we always spoke about it. Like, from when I got tattooed with him 7 years ago to now, when he did the rose on my neck the other month, he was like, I've got to make this, like, the best rose I've done, because that's going to be a famous neck one day, man. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think like that. My head doesn't, but it's cool that people think like that, but I'm a bit like, like, what if I don't, or what if I do? And then in my head, I'm like, do you know what? No, I'm making, that's probably why I'm covered in tattoos, so I don't have to do a normal thing, but like I still do a normal thing.
Yeah.
They're just super cool about it. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like, like, as long as you've not got nothing from like, like whatever. But I think just, man, like just work hard and just love what you do, because I think if you, I had this problem from 21 to like 23 when I didn't have like no money at all. I was getting by. I was really working hard. I was trying to take all the work I could. And I was still, paying my way, doing my thing. I would get jobs in warehouses here and there and not really like it, and because I wanted the time to play drums. If you honestly can make a living out of doing what you love doing, don't fucking look back.
Yeah.
Just do it, and do it the best you possibly can. When I was younger, people were like, we're going to go to Watford tonight and go like Oceana, like clubbing or this. Yeah. I'm like, I'm just going to go to the studio. They're like, why the fuck do you always go to the studio? And I'm like, well, one, I've got no money.
Yeah.
Two, I'd rather perfect my craft and work really hard, because there's always going to be another Friday night. Exactly. There's always going to be another Saturday night. There's always going to be another. So obviously not now because it's coronavirus and there's loads of shit going on.
Fun times.
But like, 6 months of our life just gone. Thank you, but like, those are the moments where I really do look back on. I don't look back on that documentary anymore. Me and Harriet have spoken about this time and time again.
It's pushed you forward.
She's like, you're not that guy anymore. You're not that person anymore. You're not doing. And do you know what, man? Like, I can wholeheartedly say, I cannot remember filming that. I don't actually remember really vividly doing it. Yeah. Not in a bad way. That's so alien to me now that my head was that fucked up. I was that fucked up, and I was always really just striving to, every gig I played, I was like, right, just get through this fucking song.
Yeah.
Look at the set list. Yeah, I've got like 2 fucking songs left to get off stage. Where's the bar?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or where's like the after party or whatever we're doing?
Now it's different. Now you're living in the moment.
I went on tour with like the Seasons guys and the Your Life of Mine guys like last year. I didn't drink. Like we had the greatest tour ever. There were so many memories made, friends made, like, and I missed everyone because I'd been on tour for so long. I missed everyone and my dog, and like, it was a fresh relationship with me and Haz, and like all these little things now, and like now I know that if I go touring again next year, I'll be cool, because I'm like, I've got the self-control now to to not do anything, and I'm really content of just, see you later, guys, I'm going to go to the hotel and go to bed. Like 11 o'clock at night after the show's done, or like 12 o'clock, whenever. I don't have to drink. I don't have to, gave up smoking and stuff. And I think it's just one of those things. If you can get into your head that what you're doing now, even if it seems like, like you have a camera, you take a cool photograph, one photograph in one day. Yeah, okay, I took one photograph yesterday. I'll take 2 photographs today. Or I'll film this today. Yeah. You're doing these small little steps, small little successions that lead to a bigger success. And you don't realise, like, Luke Trainer, like, he's a really good friend of mine. Yeah. I've known him for years. Obviously, we're not, like, super close. But if I see him, I'm like, yo, man, what's up? There's always mutual. He won the Bellator MMA fight in Milan last night. I think it was in Milan.
So.
I don't know if it was in Milan. I put it up on Instagram, but he won it. Same as like my friend Gary Hughes, an incredible boxer. Dylan Evans, like one of my close friends that I've known for years, had fucking the worst kind of cancer. Was smoking for it. Not obviously cigarettes, but obviously smoking helps him. He gets up and he's just knocking dudes out. He's now training with Darren Till, who's in the UFC. Like so many good friends of mine. Kenny Hooper, obviously he's in New York doing an album. We Connected, the guys from Boy Better Know, Professor Green, Ocean Wisdom. Like all of these people that I listened to growing up, or people that I now have fallen in love with their music. Like, what the fuck? I was having dinner with like SKT at the start of the year with Chris, who's like an overseer of what I do. And we were planning on doing a few shows. Like Alex has been killing it, like Lex, and like everyone else that I'm friends with now. Like, if I look back on how everyone that I know that was, you and everyone else that was doing music 2-3 years ago, we didn't know we'd be sitting here at this point. All of us have done so well in our own right that I don't recognise who I was at all. And I'm actually genuinely, I'm getting, when you don't get choked up, but you do get choked up, like in a really happy way. Like, speaking about it now is like, I'm fucking speechless, man. Yeah. Like, I'm fucking speechless, because it's like, if I can do it, and Stevenage is like a small yet big town. Like, it's a small town, but everyone talks. Yeah. Dude, so many people have come out of Stevenage, man. Like Hamilton, Absolutely. Ed Westwick, Lewis Hamilton, like loads of sports people. Yeah. Even like as I just reeled off, Luke Trainer, Dylan, Gary, like me, Alex, you, like loads of people, man. Like,
yeah.
So it's not.
They've made progress, haven't they?
It's not that alien.
No.
To, you know, you can look up to these people and be jealous, or you can look up to the peers and be like, do you know what? If they're going to do it that way, I'm going to do it this way. You know, like even like Maskell with owning this place and keeping this going for years. I've been coming here since I was 11 or 12. Like even Max Engineering or having, you know, Waste, like, you know, the band, whatever it is that you love doing, fucking do it and do it with full 110% at 100 miles an hour every single hour on the hour, because you never know when your time's up and you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Like with the life that we as entertainers, as we know now, we could get left in the dust the next year, you know, fuck knows, man. Yeah. So just live your life the greatest and best you can. You know, I try to. You know, there's things that happen. You know, my anxiety eats me away sometimes, or I don't want to go out, or I don't want to do things. But you know what, man? Fuck it. Like, I'm not where I was, and I'm never going to be that ever again. Yeah.
That sounds like a good place to wrap up. I want to ask each guest on this little series one question, because this is all about positively as well.
You can't do that with me, man. You have to pay me if you want to ask me. No, I'm kidding, man. Yeah, ask me whatever you want, man.
So what's one thing that's made you happy this week, mate?
Waking up to Harriet every morning and going to bed with her every night. That isn't me just being gutsy or cute. That is literally
that's just facts.
That's a blessing to me, man. But like, if we're, you know, she'll probably like, like every time she'll be, oh, shut the fuck up. Because I mention her a lot, man, but it's because I love her so much, man. Yeah. But like, you know, if you really want to talk about one thing that's made me really happy, man, as well as obviously as well as like, you know, having Harry, is like, I don't know, just being alive.
Yeah.
You know, that's like a massive thing for me. It's just being alive, man, being healthy and well, having my health, and it's just, yeah. I think my answer to your question is mainly being alive.
Awesome, man.
Because I didn't actually think I would be. I'm getting goosebumps, man.
Yes.
Fucking hell, yeah. Just being alive. So,
no, mate. Thank you for
sharing
your story. Thank you for supporting this little project.
I'm going to say shout outs to Bad Monday. I'm going to say shout outs to London Road Studios. I'm going to say shout outs to Connor Wells right now. I'm going to say a shout out to every damn other motherfucker that was watching this that has loved me throughout everything, no matter how much of a shitbag I've been. So, yeah.
We all have been.
It's been a ride, man. But other than that, honestly, man, thank you, man. Elbow bump. Cool, man.
The old Rona.
Sweet.
Thank you, man. Pleasure.
The old Rona. I've been Kieran Leigh. This is Connor Wells.
See you next week.
See, I can do the sign outs now. You do the intros, I'll do the sign outs. Yeah, sweet. Cool, man.